If you've ever secretly thought, I'd hoped we'd have more skills by now, I hope you'll stay with me for a few minutes. Not because I'm going to tell you to accept less, and not because I'm going to tell you how you should think about your situation. Of course not. What I want to offer is a different way to take stock of progress, one that many parents find more sustainable over time. Here's something you might recognize right away. Most kids show pieces of a skill before it's fully developed. Maybe mornings don't spiral the way they used to, but you still need to provide more support than you'd hoped. Or your child can recover after a meltdown, even if they can't prevent it yet. If you only count the day it stops being a problem altogether, you miss a lot of real development that's already happening that deserves to be celebrated. In this video, I want to show you how to widen the lens so that the progress you're already building doesn't get lost. This question does tend to surface at predictable moments. A new year, a birthday, a grade change, a transition. These moments invite comparison, often quietly. By now, shouldn't this be easier? Shouldn't we be finished with this struggle? That's not judgment. That's a parent trying to understand trajectory. When you care deeply about development, it's natural to check where you are against where you expect it to be. There's an unfortunate pattern in the way progress gets evaluated. It's a deficit model. Progress is often measured by what still requires support, what hasn't become a non-issue yet, what still takes effort. What we expected would be easier by now, and it's exhausting and demoralizing for parents. And this way of measuring doesn't come out of nowhere. It's reinforced, usually with good intentions, by the systems and people around you. I can remember sitting in a meeting after meeting where professionals carefully walked me through a long list of my son's developmental gaps. The purpose made sense. Identify needs, target goals, plan support. But what each professional couldn't see was the accumulation. As a parent, I was hearing versions of that list again and again, day in, day out, across settings, across years. Families can unintentionally do something similar. Questions meant to help, suggestions meant to support, observations meant to be useful. Individually, none of them is harmful. Cumulatively, it can be wearing. So when progress starts to feel far away, it's not because nothing is developing, it's because the lens being used consistently points to what is still missing. And that means that shifting how you look at progress isn't just an internal exercise, like you have to think about it differently. It also requires gently pushing back against the steady stream of proof that keeps reinforcing deficits and fails to fully recognize and celebrate the skills that are developing. This is something I work on with parents all the time, not because the goals are wrong, but because parenting requires a different vantage point than clinical or educational planning alone. When parents widen how they evaluate progress, they often realize that far more capacity has been built than they've been noticing. That acknowledgement of progress breeds optimism, which breeds more progress. You know, this idea of intentionally noticing progress didn't come to me naturally. In my coaching program, we start every session with a quick win. And I'll be honest, when I first participated in a program that did this, I rolled my eyes so hard. It felt awkward, uncomfortable in my body. Like, why are we doing this? But over time, I realized something important. Our brains are naturally wired to scan for problems. It's protective. It's how we anticipate risk and prevent harm. So when progress is slow or uneven, the brain doesn't automatically register what's improving. It keeps tracking what still needs attention. What surprised me most was seeing how this plays out with parents in my own groups. We begin every session with a quick win, and when parents first join, at first, they struggle to find something to name. Not because nothing positive is happening, but because they're out of practice noticing it. After a few weeks, something shifts. They start easing into it. And then a few sessions later, they begin volunteering wins without even being prompted. What becomes clear is this isn't about attitude, it's about training attention. And that's why widening how you view progress can feel like a lot of effort at first. It's not because it's forced or artificial, although it can feel that way in the beginning, but it's because it's unfamiliar. But with practice, it becomes easier to see development as it's unfolding, not just once it's finished. There is an unspoken concern that sometimes shows up here, and that is parents worry, if I'm happy with limited progress, am I lowering expectations? The short answer is absolutely not. Recognizing emerging skills doesn't mean abandoning goals. It clarifies them. When parents can see what's developing, even when support is still required, they make more grounded decisions about what to scaffold, what to stretch, and what to leave alone for now. This isn't about optimism. It's about having a way of evaluating progress that's workable over the long haul. So here's a more sustainable way to take stock, especially during those natural checkpoints. Instead of asking, why isn't this easier yet? Which, believe me, I did ask all the time back in the day. Another is, where is communication clearer, even if it's still inconsistent? And what situations require less preparation than before? And finally, what used to be impossible that's now possible with support? These questions don't minimize what's still hard. They help you appreciate what is under construction, not just what's already been finished. If you can think of an example of something you could celebrate, even if it's still under construction, I'd love to hear that in the comments. Hope doesn't have to mean believing that support won't be needed. It can mean skills are accumulating even when they're not yet reliable or a non-issue. That kind of hope is steadier and it's easier to live inside. You can want and work hard for continued growth and still recognize real development. These positions don't compete, and sometimes the most stabilizing shift isn't doing more, it's changing how progress gets counted, so the work you're already doing feels more sustainable. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I hope you'll consider dropping a like, subscribe if you haven't yet, share it with another family who might need to hear this message. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.